Okay, we're going to saute some mushrooms. I put some oil in the pan. It's going to be a little extra virgin olive oil. That in the pan. You want to wait until the pan gets hot. It may seem like a lot of oil, but I'm actually cooking 2 large portions of mushrooms. That's a large container of mushrooms. So once I get my oil heated up, I want to put my mushrooms in. And you may not have a large pan like this, but it's really helpful if you do. Whoa, there you go. Jump doggies. There you go. And we're going to add a little reduced sodium soy sauce to the mix once they get stir frying properly, or sauteing properly rather. Okay, got the soy sauce open. Shake that up a little bit. And this is really where the magic happens. That's going to turn into a delicious, you see the color change almost instantly there. And that's going to brown up and caramelize. And you could add a little bourbon whiskey, but we're not going to do that this time. Or you could add a little garlic, or any hot pepper to make it a little spicy mushroom. And this dish goes well with steak accompaniment, or it can go into a noodle dish, you know, maybe with some stir-fried chicken, pork, or beef, or just no meat at all. And you know, mushrooms are very meaty. They kind of resemble a steaky kind of a flavor when they're done correctly. You see there's some moisture in the pan. The mushrooms give out their own moisture. So see how they turn? It turns darker and darker, and that will continue through the cooking process. It will just continue to caramelize and become more and more delicious. And this pan is on full high heat. So if you have a good pan, as you can see, this is a very big pan, very long handle. It's nice to have at least one of these in the house. And I'm going to just continue to kind of rock the pan a little bit to thin out those juices that come out of the mushrooms. And see the bubbling? See the bubbling? That tells me that I'm pretty much out of that wet zone. And you can see the color coming on those mushrooms. It's fantastic, and it smells awesome. And they just keep turning browner and darker, and all those flavor just penetrating those mushrooms. Now I'll let it rest again for a minute. been cooking these for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And start off with a real hot pan. Wasn't that hot, but can be hotter. And as you can see, the mushrooms are pretty much done. At this point, you can take it off the heat and just let it sit for a minute to soak up all that deliciousness. But I like to cook mine a bit more until they actually condense a bit and the actual mushrooms condense and become a bit smaller. And if you hang in here with me, you'll see that taking place. You can see how beautiful they're getting. The color's awesome. And you see there's almost no liquid really. It's almost like no liquid. I'm tilting the pan. There's almost no liquid in the pan. And I can add a little bit more soy just to loosen it up. Just a couple of splashes, not much. You can see how much they've reduced so far. The mushrooms were covering the pan, and now they're kind of empty spaces around, you know. So if you do a small box, you're really going to have a lot less mushrooms than you start out with. So I recommend just doing a large box or 2 small boxes if you don't have a large pan like this. Oh yeah. See a little browning and a little charring on it. That's the goodness, folks. Look at that. Look at that. I know a lot of people like to add some white wine, but that's more like if you're going for light cream sauce maybe. I guess you can saute them in white wine or white cooking wine. If you use a wine, you should use a wine that you would drink, not that really acrid, vinegary cooking wine they sell. You know, if you won't drink it, why would you eat it? See how much they've reduced. And I'm going to let it go even further to really get that caramelized texture and absorb all of those flavors. Cook them in real deep. And these are very powerful. They explode almost. The flavor almost explodes in your mouth. They get a little bit sticky here. So I'll start using a spatula, and I might even add a little bit more soy, because what you're going for is a very condensed flavor in these mushrooms. That's why I really like to use light soy. And I don't add much, just enough to keep it wet. And you can see on the pan how caramelized that gets. See, it's really a lot of spacing now. they've shrunken down, and the flavor is really pretty much in there. I just like my mushrooms cooked well. And you don't want to burn. If you have a concern about adding the low sodium soy sauce, you can also use a little water, or maybe a little bit of that wine we were talking about. But I really don't want to pair the wine with the soy sauce at all. So if I use soy sauce, I'll use soy sauce, and if I use wine, then I'll use wine. But I only really use wine when I'm making a white sauce. And as you can see, that's pretty much about it. They have reduced down quite a bit, as you can see, almost half a pan, even if you spread them out. You can see they're a lot less and a lot smaller. You just want to make sure you don't burn anything. It's very hard to burn them, by the way, but anything can burn if you're not attentive. But you see how awesome those look? Look how awesome. Look at that. It's beautiful. All right, you cut the fire, and that's it. You have sautéed, I guess you can say Asian flavored mushrooms that go great with steak, or steak and cheese. These go awesome on steak and cheese. In fact, I'm going to make a steak and cheese with these right now. Well, not all of them, but was using some of them. And I hope you enjoyed the recipe. Thank you.